Good evening. My name is Clarissa and I'm going to talk to you today about presentation skills and how we can effectively present whatever ideas we have. Before I start and get into the topic, let me briefly introduce myself. I am a learning and development consultant with over 18 years of experience. I've been in the learning and development field for about 12 years now. And I'm somebody who's very passionate and I love to interact with people. I've been associated with Welingkar for the last 3+ years, and this is my second time interacting with you. Let's get into the topic and let's understand a little bit about what it is that we're going to do. We're going to cover a little bit on what presentation skills are, the important requirements of presentation skills, and the components that get into effectively presenting your topic, your ideas, as well as yourself. They say, however brilliant your ideas are, if you're unable to get them across to people, if people are not interested, if you can't catch one's attention, your ideas may not be of too much of use. Therefore, it is important for you to effectively communicate your ideas across to people in a way that people want to listen to you. So that's exactly what we're going to learn in the next 15 minutes. Now, what is presentation skills, or what is it all about? These are skills which are extremely important in this day and time. One needs presentation skills while presenting information, data clearly across to an audience effectively so as to influence them. These are extremely key skills which are required in every field in this day and time. Like I said earlier, however brilliant an idea is, if one is not able to effectively put that idea across, that may be futile. A lot of times we know what to say, though not how to say it. And that is exactly what we are going to embark on. Now, what are the different times that we end up, in a situation where we have to present ourselves? In different spheres of our lives, whether it is at your college, whether it is at a post-graduation ceremony, whether it is at an interview, whether it is at a meeting, you have to constantly present ideas, you have to constantly present yourself to an audience. Now, how is it that you can create an impact on that audience? How is it that you can make your presentation memorable? What is it that you can do to make a lasting impression on your audience? We're going to sit here and discuss all of these. It is interesting that an average human being has an attention span of about 8 seconds and can concentrate on anything for about 20 minutes at a stretch, if that is, the subject invokes his or her interest. And that's why we've kind of crisped it to 20 minutes just so that you will listen and understand and make your notes whenever possible. Some important requirements in presentation skills are: 1, of course, the presentation itself, and 2, the presenter, the person who is presenting the topic. That is you. The presentation would involve ideally the structure, your design of the slides, graphics, visuals, the layout, etc. The presenter, on the other hand, can enhance the presentation tremendously. So your presentation obviously has to look good, the visuals have to be effective, but how is it that you convey that idea which is in the presentation skills can make all the difference. Now, when we talk about how is it that you can present, we will primarily talk about your delivery skills, which includes your communication skills, voice modulation, the focus that you have on the topic, as well as the focus that you have on your audience and while connecting with your audience, and your body language, which speaks volumes about who you are. So what makes a good presentation? I'd like to put that in a very simple way. P for presentation, and 4 P's which are important to create an effective presentation. 1, right at the top of the list, is passion. If you can passionately, while you have an idea, if you create it, if you start creating your entire presentation based on your idea with a lot of passion, that presentation will emerge successful. When you are communicating this presentation to your audience, if you have some level, and a lot of level I would say here, of passion while you're delivering it, it automatically results in a very positive presentation. Your personality, which speaks volumes of you. Now, personality does not have to be who you are as a person, you know, like they would usually say, oh, you have to be tall, or you have to be of a certain stature. No, those are things which are immaterial, not always important. But how is it that you can carry yourself for however you are is something that creates a strong personality. Preparation, which is extremely important. So you need to prepare your slides, you need to prepare your posture, you need to prepare yourself, you need to go through the slides, you need to understand the order of which you are presenting. You'll need to practice a lot in front of an audience, get feedback, practice in front of the mirror, record yourself so you can hear yourself. And once when you're strongly prepared is when you will be able to face your audience with confidence. And finally, the pace at which you speak and connect with your audience. Not too fast and not extremely slow that could bore people away. Time to harness your nerves. Now when we talk about audience, the first thing that comes to mind is the fear of facing people. In fact, there are studies that always have shown that people fear facing an audience or speaking in front of an audience much more than they fear heights or they fear even death, you know. So that's the kind of fear that people face. So you're just one of the many people who have this fear of presenting and speaking in front of people. So don't worry about it. Everybody else feels the same. What is it that you can do different to combat that fear? A couple of things that I can tell you right at the top of my mind is people are always going to be there. When you choose to speak, you will have an audience. People are not critically sitting there to monitor every word you say, to monitor every mistake you make, and to talk against you or to speak about what you've done wrong. People are also absorbing and understanding what you are saying. A lot of times we're very scared about the small mistakes that we may make. These are a part of speaking. It may happen, it may not. Don't be very conscious about the mistakes that you make. Go with the flow and understand that people are looking at the bigger picture, the outcome of your presentation. A couple of other tips that you can use to manage this fear. One of them, which I've used for years, is practice in front of the mirror, because you can be your best friend and your worst critique. So when you're practicing in front of the mirror, you would be able to see your body language, you'd be able to see your expressions, you'd know how you speak. When you record yourself again, you would be able to hear yourself and understand if you're making a mistake, if you like the tone of your voice, if you need to change things about how you speak. So two of the things that you can do: one, speak live in front of the mirror so you can compliment and criticize yourself and improve from there. Two, record yourself. So once when you hear yourself, you understand what's going right and what isn't. While you're preparing, the first thing that you need to keep in mind is to know who your audience is. Whether your audience is senior, a senior management crowd, whether your audience is a mixed bag, whether your audience is mid-management, or you're speaking with novices, juniors, or youngsters, the youth. Based on that, you need to deliver your speech. And once when you know who your audience is, you can prepare and plan what you have to present only based on that. So you can completely change your presentation and the way you deliver it only based on your audience. Remember, what suits one set of audience may not suit another set of audience. So if something was great about a presentation, you may not be able to repeat that with another audience, though the topic remains the same. So you will have to tweak that based on your audience. Know what you want as your goal of the presentation. What is it that you want to achieve out of your presentation? That should be your highlight. And that is something that you need to reiterate every 4 or 5 slides. So people know the important thing, and that is hammered straight through. What's your agenda? And after that, start storyboarding things, create stories, weave things around stories, and put yourself in the first person when you're speaking about things. So you can use something like, last year when I was out on this vacation, I met with somebody. So even if probably you've seen that and it was not last year, it was just a trip that you took, maybe, with your family, with your friends or whatever. The minute you say, I did that and it happened to me, you're connecting with your audience. They realize that you're bringing in some level of humor. People connect with you very easily when there is some level of humor. So try using the first person whenever you use stories. While you're preparing, again, I would repeat, stand in front of the mirror and record yourself. These are 2 of the things that have helped people overcome certain levels of fear. I'm not saying it will go off completely, because it takes a lot of practice, a lot of standing up and presenting for you to completely overcome your fear, but it can help ever so little. So start. While we're now going to talk about the structure of your presentation. So usually we'd start with the introduction, the presentation, and your closure. A robust introduction is something that you need. It has to be powerful. It has to show passion. You must capture your audience's attention. Your audience must gauge the what's in it for me in the first 3 to 4 minutes of your presentation. Okay, always be natural, be honest with your introductions, be honest with what you have to and what you are going to cover in your topic. While structuring your presentation, always remember to structure it in sizable chunks. Use visuals, like I said earlier. Graphics always are more impactful. Reinforce key points. Use storytelling. Always have a little story to tell, some kind of anecdotes at every given point in time. Present your slides with professionalism, passion, power, and a positive tone. Present your slides, like I said, with passion. Automatically your voice, you will be able to control your voice. Your modulation of your voice is extremely important. You must sound energetic and enthusiastic, both together. Ask questions and make it interactive. Have the group involved in what you're speaking. Don't let it be one-sided. You can start with a question and then take it on from there based on the replies that you get. Alright, variation in your tone is important. Like I said earlier, your voice modulation is extremely important. A couple of things to remember in this, again, for peace, the power in your voice, your pitch, the pace at which you speak, and pauses. Pause at the right time, pause a few seconds every now and then. It gives you a breather and it gives your audience time to understand what you've said. And it works miraculously in presentations. Articulate, don't yell. You don't need to speak at a very loud volume. You need to speak enough at a volume that is understood by everybody, but modulate your voice. Project yourself confidently and clearly. Remember, when you stand on both your feet. Always keep your hands in front of you with your fingers lightly touching each other. Smile in a very subtle way so it reflects positively in your voice, and maintain eye contact with everybody present in the room. While you close, remember that if your start was impactful, your close needs to be with a bang, as they say. Plan for a wrap up. So know the time that is given to you. Wrap up much before or a few minutes before the time, So it gives you enough space and you don't have to abruptly close. Leave your audience feeling positive and with a clear call to action when appropriate. Your audience needs to walk out with just that kind of positive feeling that they felt when you initiated and started your presentation. A lot of times people present beautifully, but toward the end, they tend to get a little slow, they're a little tired, and what also happens here is, because of not pacing it well with time, they tend to abruptly close. That should not happen. Therefore, plan for a wrap-up. Recap the main points of your presentation. Remember that your audience may remember what you said last the best. So your closing has to be extremely strong and impactful. Send them away with a positive feeling about your presentation. Send them away with a positive feeling about you, yourself. They have to walk away with good memories about the entire presentation that they sat through. Therefore, your closing must be extremely impactful. Finally, practice again. That's the key into delivering good presentations. Get feedback from people and review yourself constantly. If I have to quickly reiterate in 30 seconds, know your goals and objectives, know your audience, understand how it is that you're going to present your data to the audience, incorporate a story, remember the order of your presentation, use graphics, charts, images wherever required, see that the slide or there's a good layout of your slides, practice as much as you can, and finally present yourself confidently. This is how you will be successful. Thank you. I've got a question. I'm going to take up a question right now. I have somebody who says, is there a possibility that even if we are not presentable but a subject matter expert, can our skills override the requirements of being presentable? Of course they can. Like I said earlier, you may not be the best looking person, but that's not really what is important. It is how you create an impact. How is it that you groom? So see that you're well groomed, see that you're confident. That comes out of a lot of practice, and see that you project a positive image of yourself. At the end of the day, you need to be a subject matter expert. You need to have information and knowledge. So research about your audience, research about your topic, be prepared with answers. If there is something that you do not know, be extremely honest and tell the audience that you're not sure of the answer, but you're going to check and get back with them. And remember to research and get back with them on the answers, because at the end of the day, what you speak says much more about just how you are dressed or who you are.